Good afternoon, this is Jeff of Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we are at property address 57 Condoleezza Drive here in Lake Oswego. We are located in the crawl space right up against the foundation, or I guess the front foundation wall, I would call it, of the crawl space here. If you'll look inside the crawl space to your right, you'll see about some of the only plumbing that's in here. So, got a 3-inch ABS clean out here that ties right into a 4-inch cast iron pipe. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. Right now, I've got the bathroom sink running, which is in front of this. Where that water right there is coming from, it's hard to say. There could be some other... Right now, I believe all the water in the house, other than the sink down here, is turned off. But these are shared lines in here, and it's possible you may have interconnected lines that come under the crawl space from a unit, behind the house, potentially. Alright, so we are in a fair amount of standing water right now. In an ideal world, I get 100% of the water turned off so you can really gauge the depth of the water nicely. The amount of water flowing from behind us is not so much that we're exaggerating, a tiny belly into something significant. That, even if you had all the water off, you can see how much water is actually moving through the line. That's only going to be exaggerating that belly by maybe a 1/4 inch or so. You've got a fairly significant amount of standing water there. Yeah, my least favorite combo, a lot of bellies really don't concern me a whole lot in modern piping, in plastic pipe that have nice smooth pipe walls. Cast iron, because of its rough texture, is already kind of prone to debris hanging up, especially if improper items ever go down the line accidentally or on purpose. You couple that with a bunch of standing water that slows things down, and it's a recipe for, where blockages can indeed occur. So after 13 years of doing this, I've backed way off of recommending repairs on a lot of plastic lines because they behave completely different than your cast iron ones do. They have bellies in them. That's not to say that this line is not functioning to an extent. It is indeed functioning, but you've got enough standing water there, you can create some problems. All right, 6-inch concrete transition we just went past, and then there's the main connection. Looks like we're tying right into the manhole. So we're going to go locate this really quick here while the pipe drains out, and then we'll take a second look at everything once we'll get it as drained as we possibly can. Alrighty, so I went and located here. This line is doing, it's configured backwards from what I assumed it was doing. I figured this was going out the front. The line is actually going out the back. And so that water we were seeing there, it was actually the bathroom sink water. The way this property is laid out, the amount of slope that it has to it, typically speaking, the sewer line will run with the gradation of the property. In this case, it kind of goes against it. So anyway, we're going to start pulling back here. The line terminates, if you walk straight out the back of the house, you've got the concrete walkway, and then you have a set of stairs, pretty much directly in line with leaving the back doorway. Right at the top of those stairs, if you're staring out the back door at the rear of the property, right at the top of those stairs, just off to the right, is a big, huge bush. There's a manhole right in that vicinity there. That's where the line terminates. Right now we're in, about a 1/4 inch or so of standing water. Not ultra significant. Still has the potential to hang stuff up. Relative to like a plastic sewer, that amount of standing water would be absolutely insignificant. In cast iron, this still has some significance because you have that coupling of rough pipe material and standing water. So it looks like the main brunt of this belly here, though, I believe is residing under the crawl space. I'm going to pull it back here to the start. Now the water's turned off here, and get a little nicer view of the depth of water you're working with here. It's over, by and large, it's at 1 inch or just over it. I mean, the good thing is I'm not seeing a ton of debris build up in the line here, although in the standing water we had some. The sidewalls, I'm not seeing tons and tons of buildup, like it's causing recurring blockages. A lot of this comes down to volume. A lot of these households in here don't have a ton of people living in, which certainly helps. But that standing water there, coupled with the cast iron, it's not a combo I love, and it's one I would recommend correcting if it's not fixed. And part of the trickiness of repairing something like this is often a combination of homeowner responsibility and HOA responsibility. You've got enough gradation issues on the outside. Granted, they're not ultra significant. You got 1/4 inch or so, but when your belly is basically continuous, your more significant part of the belly is continuous with minor stuff. In order to fully correct that belly, you often have to chase that grade out quite a ways. Otherwise, what you end up with is a partial correction, and or sometimes you can fix quite a bit of it, but then what you end up doing is you hike the pipe up in such a manner that you'll sometimes shift the standing water down line, and you'll end up with more significant standing water downline further where it's minor. So, in an ideal world, in order to correct this, you're going to probably have to take that repair out beyond the point of where it's the most significant. And that is likely going to be out in HOA territory at that point. So, alrighty, so I just located here down the crawl space. The belly does start in the crawl. It's kind of an awkward spot to locate. I'm mostly set up for exterior locating, but I'm getting around 6 foot deep. And then that belly there, it does persist. It's continuous with more minor standing water. So, it's one I do recommend a repair on. My experience after 13 years of doing this is, when you couple 1 inch or more of standing water with rougher cast iron, especially if you're not being careful, it can indeed lead to blockages. Based on what I see here, and the lack of big, thick buildup on the sidewalls at the top of the pipe, I'm not seeing a lot of evidence of recurring blockages. So it's not like you can't live with it. It's not ideal. So what you want to do if it doesn't get fixed, what I tell most folks is treat the line like a septic system. Folded toilet paper only, no flushable wipes, tampons, cooking oil, grease. It's all that stuff that you're not supposed to put down the line. That's the stuff that really has a hard time getting through standing water. And when it does hang up, especially with cast iron pipe, it often stays put and it doesn't disintegrate on its own. So whatever's going down this, you want to be stuff that easily and readily disintegrates and breaks down. Your disposal, again, you can still use the disposal. You just want to limit what you're putting down it to stuff that if you were to go put it outside would wilt and break down pretty quick. Lettuce, for instance, would be fine. Potato peels, you don't want to put that kind of stuff down there. So, anyway, all the pipe we just scoped there, all of it appears to be intact. I don't see anything that's obviously broken. The line is functioning at this time. It is draining slower than it should due to the standing water. It's that slow drain that has the potential to lead to a blockage. So what I recommend if no repairs are done is, right now, especially because my camera's gone through there and pushed some stuff out, broke some things up, the line is not in need of jetting right now, in my opinion. But what you want to do is rescope the line in about 1 year, and that's going to give you a baseline for how the line is handling your living habits. Every household lives very different from one another. Some households, people work 12 hours a day at the office and hardly ever use their bathroom. And some places, the bathroom is used all the time. In my house with 4 children, it's a constant thing. So it's worth taking a second look at it to see how it's handling your living habits, and then clean the line as needed. And you also want to keep an eye on it. It's an older line to begin with, and standing water does, in general, cause cast iron to wear out sooner because it's not a chemically stable product like plastic is. Acidic stuff, lemon juice, Drano, stuff like that can cause the pipe to prematurely wear out. And when it gets that kind of stuff gets hung up in standing water, it has the chance to just kind of sit there and work at the pipe. So just treat it nicely if no repairs are done. If repairs are completed, I'd recommend rescoping afterwards after the line is buried to ensure that you don't have any settling issues afterwards. And this is one that, because of the combination of interior and exterior, it's not one I'm going to come out here and do a bunch of locates on. This is one that I would recommend a repair company come out here and evaluate and assess and see, how much of it has to be dealt with in order to fully rectify that belly.